Hey everyone, welcome back. Hey, welcome back to Crypto's News. It's me, Omar Bam, your BitConnect, well, I'm kidding, your Ethereum, Bitcoin, and other crypto news guy. Welcome back to the show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Remember to hit the like button if you're watching this video. The earlier you guys can do that, the more it goes a long way to helping us get this news out there. Remember to subscribe if you're new so you can join one of the oldest, probably the first daily crypto news channel that existed ever here on YouTube. So would really appreciate any support you guys can do in the way of subscribing, getting the word out there, sharing the videos and everything else. Sit back, grab a drink. I've collected a lot of the news that is going on today, February 14th, 2025. Happy Valentine's, my crypto friends and my crypto fam. We're going to be getting into quite a bit in just a moment. All right, let's start off by looking at the prices, and we're going to do so by heading over to CoinMarketCap. We're going to do it old school today. I used to use this website whenever I looked at the prices, and I will go back since they gifted me a t-shirt back in the day. But yeah, I've always enjoyed CoinMarketCap. I really appreciate now that they actually show the fear and greed index up here at the very top, which looks like today is at a 38 out of 100. So we are pretty much in the fear territory. We are below neutral here, and I can't see why. I guess if you're holding meme coins, there's certain coins out there that you definitely have reason to be fearful they might not climb again. You should be a little bit fearful, but I think for most people who probably watch the show and have been around for a long time, I don't know how you could not be greedy at this point. And it's like they say, always be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. I think now may be the time to definitely be greedy. Certainly how it feels like to me looking at all these different headlines that we're looking at as we go throughout the week. So yeah, happy Friday, guys. Bitcoin up 0.5% over the last 24 hours at $97,377.26. Has to do with a U.S. retail stores number that came out that the Federal Reserve was looking at, and it came out less hot than expected. So a sign that maybe as we move on later through the year, we could see rates coming down. Yesterday, apparently, you had Trump calling for rate cuts. So I think this is giving a little bit of a boost to the market as we get ready to head into the weekend. We have Ethereum up 1.34% at $2,712.44. And the market caps overall up 1.46% at sorry, I just realized Key managed to crawl all the way up from my leg up to my shoulder. I got to keep an eye on him sometimes so he doesn't bite a cable or something. But yes, we have $3.24 trillion as far as the overall market cap for cryptos. One of the biggest gainers on the day is XRP. It is up 6.4% at $2.73. I read about some report. Someone put together some sort of AI model to go ahead and try to guess and predict prices. And based on a possible XRP ETF conversion from Grayscale that we're going to get into, we could see prices of up to $5 for XRP. So not $100, but still not bad if you're a holder of that. Yeah, plenty more. I mean, mostly we're in the green today, which is good. It's nice to see. Great to wrap up another week with you, Renee. We did survive. I don't know how sometimes, but we were still here. Incredible. Kevin Hawthorne, good evening to you, my man. Always appreciate you out here, man. Dreamcatcher is a guest of the show. Thank you for making time to be here today and trusting me with the news, man. So let's go ahead and start doing the rounds as to what I've collected. This talks about Standard Charter's Jeff Kendrick, and he, in a Friday note, told Standard Charter about how it's really unusual how we've been having these negative weekends where we see Bitcoin dump on the weekends, and how unusual it is based off the normal movements that we see on days of the week. He said this is not normal, noting that weekend price action for all of 2024 tended to be rather muted, with Mondays and Fridays instead being the time to pay attention for big moves. So kind of giving us hints. We've been feeling pain over the last weekends. Heading into it, it's like, oh God, here we go. We can only hope that the news that starts on Monday and wraps up into Tuesday will be positive for the most part. And even so, right, like some of this positive news that we've been getting, I mean, like headline after headline, and we have not seen Bitcoin stay over $100,000. Could this be a sign now that we're not getting good news impact the market bullishly, mean that we are topping out? And I think that's some of the fear that we are seeing that is out there personally, but it's unusual. And heading into this kind of strong move into the weekend might set us up for hopefully a better weekend as we move forward here. Yeah, it talks about the retail sales data again down here in this article. But yeah, we'll see what happens in this weekend. And I don't know, are you guys going to be holding on? Are you guys going to close positions? Maybe we're finally going to break this streak of 5 consecutive weekends of being down for Bitcoin. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. And yes, this is why XRP is moving up on the day so much. Basically, the SEC has acknowledged the proposed rule change that would allow for Grayscale XRP Trust to be converted over to an ETF format, whereby it would open up to more and more investors and other kinds of funds to be able to get into XRP. Now, in the prior administration, basically the SEC just ignored so many different proposed rule changes, but they actually responded to this one. You can see down here their acknowledgement of the B4 filings and how they're going to be opening up for commentary from the public, soliciting comments on the proposed rule change. It will be a while before we get a conversion to the XRP ETF actually completed, but this is a first step and a show of collaboration from the SEC toward Ripple. Also, Aston Martin has unveiled a huge partnership they're announcing with Coinbase and their Formula One team. This is going to feature Coinbase branding on the drivers as well as the vehicles. It was a partnership that was paid for completely in USDC. So the first time they've accepted a stable coin, they announced in this press release. And this was, again, completely paid for by USDC from Coinbase. And it will basically show their commitment to supporting the new... supporting the new crypto economy. We got Doge coins. We need to get some Keeb coins, I think. That's what we need to probably get out there. So yeah, I think pretty huge. According to the managing director of commercial at Aston Martin, Aramco Formula One, he said this partnership shows a trust and confidence we place in Coinbase's expertise as a leader in digital finance. By transacting this deal fully in USDC, we're signaling our commitment to innovation, building a sustainable, forward-thinking relationship with Coinbase. I mean, if you're all about moving fast and being efficient, you should do the same with payments, methinks, right? So it makes sense. And Gary Sun, the vice president of marketing at Coinbase, had this to say: "This is a huge milestone for Coinbase, marking the first time we've invested in a sports partnership entirely in cryptocurrency. It is also our debut in Formula One, and we are excited to embrace an industry that equally values pushing the boundaries with transformative ideas and technology. We look forward to building on this collaboration with Aston Martin Aramco as we strive for greater economic freedom globally." So yeah, putting the Coinbase word out there, waving the Coinbase flag. I'm not sure how good Aramco is, but now they have the support of so many in cryptocurrency, which is good for them as well as Coinbase. I think this partnership, we already went through this. So yeah, we have a huge amount of different funds, wealth funds, primarily sovereign wealth funds that are disclosing that they have invested in primarily Bitcoin ETFs here. So Abu Dhabi writes here, Colin Talks Crypto, who really tidied this up for us quite well. Abu Dhabi Sovereign Wealth Fund, $436 million. It looks like their first purchase was actually back in November of 2024. State of Wisconsin Investment Board, $321 million. And that's primarily an IBIT, BlackRock's ETF. They basically added even more to a position that they had previously. And Hong Kong investment firm Anew, $599 million. If other countries and U.S. states keep accumulating this much BTC, there's only one possible outcome: low supply and high demand, causing the price to skyrocket. So yeah, he shows some of these different tweets that showed these investment amounts, and you can read more about this all over the internet right now. This one talks about the Wisconsin and basically the Abu Dhabi Sovereign Wealth Fund. Also, in response to this, Cynthia Loomis, Senator, Wyoming, wrote, "I told you the race was on. It's time for America to win." This was in response to the disclosures from Abu Dhabi's investment fund. And really, Abu Dhabi has started opening up even more to cryptocurrency. And yeah, I mean, this is just another example of that, of accruing even more perhaps by the government and signaling approval really to get involved with cryptocurrency. And it shows a kind of battle right here. I told you the race was on. It's time for America to win. This is an American politician that is citing a Dubai, or Abu Dhabi rather, tweet about them getting into crypto, saying we got to beat them, right? So this is like competing on this different national level to try to accrue these things, which is what will possibly cause this low demand, right? It is already causing it, low demand, and therefore rising prices with something that is in fact limited, such as Bitcoin, and verifiable. So West Virginia legislator introduces digital asset reserve bill. This is the latest bill that we're getting from so many different states that are thinking about a Bitcoin or digital asset treasury. This one is talking about how they would invest in any digital asset that has a market cap over $750 billion. It's by State Senator Chris Rose. It's called the Inflation Protection Act of 2025. So it will allow the state to allocate a portion of its holdings to digital assets and precious metals to protect against inflation, which I think just makes sense, which is exactly what these things are meant to protect us from. South Korea to lift crypto trading ban for institutions. This is opening up so all these different investment firms, institutions in South Korea can begin to invest in crypto again. They have not been able to since 2017, but the introduction of the Virtual Asset User Protection Act has set up a framework for user protection and is paved the way for the lifting of restrictions that have been in place since 2017. This will first start off, it looks like, with allowing charities, universities, and school corporations, law enforcement agencies. These are going to be permitted to sell their virtual assets by the first half of the year. So yeah, it sounds kind of negative, right? But by the second half of the year, listed companies and professional investors will also be allowed to engage in buying and selling cryptocurrencies. So it looks like South Korea really clamped down on the entire industry after the ICO model started blowing up. And South Koreans are really fond, you see it in a lot of Asian cultures, of gambling. And we saw a lot of investments, or I guess you could call it speculation, did come from regions like South Korea, but it became increasingly difficult for them to get involved. So I think this is a good step for South Korea and could signal to other countries in the region to also follow suit, as we are often seeing with this kind of news. New York Stock Exchange asks SEC. Oh yeah, we already went through this one actually, but this is interesting. Oh no, we didn't go through this one. I apologize. Grayscale's Ethereum ETF, not their XRP trust, which was going to be converted to an ETF, which we previously talked about. This is in relation to allowing for Grayscale's Ethereum ETF to be permitted to get rewards from staking Ethereum and thereby accruing rewards for investors into this fund and for themselves as a managing company. They basically are asking permission from this new administration, which has been very positive and open-minded when it comes to the future of crypto, to make it so that they can get these kinds of returns without any sort of additional risks by setting up some sort of point and click like environment that would be very secure for them to be able to stake ETH. So really, really huge. They basically custody all their ETH with Coinbase. Coinbase has 477,428 of the ETH that are held by the trust. And surely, yeah, they do want to be able to stake that through Coinbase. Staking through mechanisms such as point-and-click staking would also permit the earning of rewards without certain additional risks. Allowing the trust to stake their Ether would benefit investors by permitting the trust to exercise their rights to free additional Ether and help the trusts better track the returns associated with holding Ether. This is exciting. I mean, this would be one of the reasons that these institutions would want to hold something like Ethereum versus something else that doesn't have a return from that kind of means, such as staking. So this could create growing demand for Ethereum, I think, who I mean, they've already shown that they're growing increasingly hungry for ETH, but this kind of rule opening up to more and more setting precedent would make them, I'd say, starving probably for ETH, right? So speaking of Ethereum, some quick Ethereum news here. Pectra is coming to Ethereum testnets. This is the next major hard fork for Ethereum on February 24th at epoch 115,968. The upgrade will go live on Holski, the current version. Then on March 5th of the testnet, on March 222,464, I'm sorry, it will activate on Sepolia. Assuming both of these go smoothly, then we'll pick an epoch for the mainnet activation. Tim Bako then outlines some of the specifications that are up for inclusion. I guess one of the big ones here is increasing the blob size by 50%. This would be really good for layer 2 networks, for example, to have lower fees, maybe even faster transactions, user experience upgrades, and more that are detailed here. So you can find that post. Look, I'll retweet it. You guys, if you have trouble finding his, you can find it on my X profile. And on Valentine's Day, we got this post here from Vitalik where he talks about why he feels it is important to also focus on layer 1 scaling of block sizes. This is something that is being discussed more and more in Ethereum after the recent increase of the layer 1 gas limit from 30 million to 36 million, which, by the way, has been really, really good, right? Look at these ETH gas prices. I've talked about phenomenally high prices recently. 0.67 Gwei, so much cheaper than it's been previous to this recent increase in the gas limit. So I'm like I've always said, a huge fan of layer 1 scaling. And he's getting behind that in this post. He outlines some of the reasons. He talks about why it would benefit layer 1 users as well as layer 2 networks. He talks about reducing gas prices in the event that a layer 2 chain had issues and there had to be a mass withdrawal from that back to layer 1, and how it's basically unfeasible with the current block size to onboard a lot of these withdrawals, especially as you see gas getting bid up higher and higher as we reach those limits. It gets so expensive, even if it was something that was the protocol's error on layer 2 rather than the user himself, right? He goes into many sorts of details. He even uses an example with how Sony has an L2 layer 2 on Ethereum today. Sony's PlayStation has about 116 million monthly active users. If all those users were to become Soneum users, so that's the name of their network, then Ethereum today would not be scalable enough to support a mass exit event. However, if we implement much more clever mass exit protocols, it just barely would be. So plenty of reasoning around this about being able to create tokens cheaper on layer 1 and much else that I think is worth keeping in mind. And I always respect hearing from the mind behind Ethereum itself, right? And how he feels about these things. Very informed and very technically understood individual, obviously understands economics to a great degree. So I definitely consider a lot of what he has to say, and I'm a fan of layer 1 scaling. So good to see him bring that up. Juan Leon here, Singularity 7X on X, senior investment strategist at Bitwise Invest, noticed that you have Ethereum ETF seeming to grow now quarter over quarter versus Bitcoin. Juan wrote, institutional ownership of ETH ETFs increased quarter over quarter, while Bitcoin ETFs basically stayed the same. This is, I think, super notable, right? About this appetite from institutions that we're beginning to see for Ethereum, especially if something like staking were to be allowed, right? ETH ETFs overall institutional ownership in quarter 3, ETH ETFs, institutions only had 4.8% basically as a percentage of their ETFs. In quarter 4, 14.5%. So like basically tripling what it was in the third quarter. And what we saw with Bitcoin ETFs over that same time period in the third quarter of last year, 22.3%, and then actually dropping in the fourth quarter to 21.5%. Maybe these institutions felt like 100,000 was the target that they were aiming for, and now they're trying to diversify, reallocate, see where the best alpha, delta, whatever you want to call it, will be, and maybe Ethereum is that place. So just wanted to point that out as well in relation to appetite. And then as we begin to wrap up here, some of the news, breaking: IRS is reportedly about to lay off thousands of workers. Apparently Doge stormed the IRS offices yesterday. All I got to say is yes, sweet. The last thing you see before your job is cut. Anyway, I also had mentioned in the show, after actually I had put this tweet up, I've got a small Trump coin short, so it's time to send it to the moon. I had held a Trump coin short for a little bit, and then I actually kept adding to it and opened like multiple ones. And I'm gonna say they performed quite well, so I even mentioned it on the show. And I'm so lucky, and it's definitely luck, right, to have gotten out of it before the climb. Today, Trump coin is up 32.23%. So I dodged a major bullet. But I think it's important sometimes to test these things out, to get involved, to kind of put my money where my mouth is, right? And so that's what I did with this. And like I said, just pure luck. But yeah, I do believe in being super involved in the space to learn more about it. And speaking of getting engaged, if you guys want to get engaged and help support the show, I saw a post on the Ethereum subreddit, and it talks about asking what are some of the best Ethereum podcasts right now. And it's so disappointing. I don't see mine there. And I'm talking about Ethereum so much. So if you guys, I don't know, if you guys could do me a huge favor, if you do one thing today to help the show and you feel like having a good heart this Valentine's, and actually the day before my birthday, if you want to give me a gift, if you could just drop a comment down here and be like, Crypto's News, shout out Crypto's News. I would super appreciate that. And it goes such a long way, I think, to helping the show. I mean, it's not a super popular post, but yeah, I appreciate you guys being a part of the community and sharing the love that any kind of way you can, and that would be a huge way. So here's our quote of the day by Ernest Hemingway: "In order to write about life first, you must live it." And happy Saturday to you, Ozzy, as well, and anyone else who catches this video later on. Take care, much love, and stay cryptic, guys. Peace.